Good day, friends. I warmly welcome you to today's episode in our series. I'm still your very good friend. I'm so glad to know that you are always there, reading your comments and your feedbacks. They are always quite edifying. So, thank you so much for the engagement so far. Today, I want to be talking about things you can do to actually overcome triggers of distress situation. There are things that actually trigger a distress situation, and we want to talk about things you can do to overcome them, because some of these things are bound to happen. So just like we normally say, all those things, they are bound to happen. The only difference is just probably the way we react to them, and that's why you see a particular thing happens to different people, but the reactions are different. So the reaction a particular person gives to a particular situation goes a long way to explaining the person's personality, the person's exposure, the person's mental health state, and every other thing about that same person. So you see a particular situation, but people having different reactions. For instance, now you could come to a place and there is a traffic gridlock. Another person is infuriated, another person is calm, another person is anxious, another person is indifferent. So probably there are so many issues that could actually necessitate that. Maybe the other person who is calm is not really in a hurry. The person who is anxious is actually rushing for an emergency. The other person who is maybe indifferent doesn't have anything to lose or to gain. Probably whenever the traffic clears, he's okay. It could also mean that the person who is calm also have an emergency to meet up, but this person have already understood that this situation is not something I can actually help at the moment. So he has already understood. So no need of panicking or being furious, in as much as that he knows that his being furious cannot change anything. So you see that our mental health state determines to a large extent how we react to things. And I will come to something that is so much common to a lot of persons, and that's the issue of phone calls and messages or chats, depending on the case may be. There are times that a particular phone call comes into your phone, and within yourself, you are not mentally stable for whatever discussion that could ensue from that discussion. There are people that once they are calling you, you already know that something is wrong, or something is going to happen, or the call may not end well, or you already have an idea of the kind of discussion that could come up. And once you feel you are not mentally stable or mentally in a good shape to handle the outcome or whatever that will come out of that particular discussion, it falls into one of the things we talk about in mental health when we say defer. So you can defer that kind of call. So probably maybe if you are not in a good state or something, then you can actually maybe call back the person when you are now stable, okay, to be able to engage in that kind of discussion. And that's why you see some people sometimes when they are called for or invited for an interview, and if they feel that they are not mentally okay or stable for that particular interview on that day, in some organizations they have this option of saying, okay, please, could we just reschedule this interview for so day, so time. And I bet you so many civilized organizations will always grant you that kind of request, because they know that the interview is not just to subjugate you to something, or it's just to find out who you are and other things. And if at that moment you are not in that mental health state to actually express yourself or something, it will be difficult to actually even know who you are and to be employed in that particular organization. So there are some times that there are calls, there are meetings, there are gatherings that if you know that your mental health state will even make it worse, it is better you even avoid being available in that meeting or picking that call, because there are sometimes that the call you have picked, the way you answer, the way you do other things would have even caused more harm than if you had not even picked the call entirely. Then the next one is messaging or chats, as the case may be. There is a kind of chat that will come up that if you can just practice some tips we normally teach regarding how to react to some things, you find out that if you are to respond to that message or to that chat in the next 30 minutes or in the next 1 hour or even in next day, you find out that your response would have been different from if you had responded impulsively immediately you receive that message. So we encourage people to always understand their own mood, understand their own mental disposition at every particular point in time. And that is what we mean when we say that somebody is mentally aware, or the person is well oriented. Is very important. So you know who you are, you know where you are, you know what you are doing, you know presently how you feel over something. There are things that there is a message that may come in, or a call. If you are so much emotional about it, or you are sentimental about it, it could becloud your responses. And by the time you are calm, by the time you have done a personal intrapersonal recollection, you now begin to like, oh, I could have done this thing differently, I could have done it differently. And that's why we normally encourage people to always take their time, especially when it is not an emergency. You take your time. Even in an emergency, you are encouraged to always be calm, because once you are not calm, there is the possibility of causing more harm will be there. So in the issue of answering phone calls, and that's why you see a lot of people, like some of these traffic regulations, is that you don't answer a call while you are driving, because the kind of call you come, or the kind of information that is being passed across to you, could make you lose focus, and it could be dangerous. So these are some of the issues. So if you are not mentally stable, if you are not mentally well disposed for a particular discussion, for a particular meeting, for a particular gathering, for a particular phone call, it is better you defer it. When you are mentally stable and you are able to confront the situation, then you are able to now take the call, or make the call, as the case may be. Then for messages or chats, there are times on this call and you are impulsive, you are feeling, I should respond, let me give it hot, the way they say these days, hot as in a hot, as the case may be. Sometimes it doesn't solve the problem, it could compound the problem, especially if you are mentally aware of who you are and who the other party is. So it helps to douse the situation, create a more friendly and cordial situation. So if the other person is already irritated or furious, then if you respond with that same energy, things could actually break down. So, but if you're able to like calm the situation with your own calmness, then we'll be able to meet at it. Because even the other person who is feeling that way, probably your own calmness could now, make the person to be like, okay, so we can actually talk about this. We don't need to shout. We just need to understand ourselves and all that. So when if somebody who is intense meets another situation that is also tensed, it's usually not a good experience. So when that call comes in, when that message comes in, and you feel you are not mentally stable to give the right answers that can create solutions, it is better you just defer. By the time you think through and look at the whole thing and come up with a better solution, better option, or better response, you could now present your response. And it will always create a much more cordial environment, relationship for people to thrive in. So until I come your way next time, please remember, if it is not emergency, if it is not so urgent, if you don't have good response to a particular message or to a particular call, it is better you defer that call, make that call when you are mentally stable, mentally alert, than trying to be impulsive and you mess up a situation that is already messed up. So until I come your way next time, stay mentally healthy. Bye.